Hi everyone. I thought I would flip through the paper. This is our Brisbane paper for yesterday, Saturday, October 26. It's called the Courier Mail. It's a daily newspaper. It's a little bit bigger on the weekends with some little extra pull-out. Oh, sorry, bump the camera. Some little extra pull-outs. So we'll take those out and we might go through those if we have time. But I thought that what I would do is flick through the paper, read some headlines, maybe read some actual articles and see where we go from there. This was a request from one of my subscribers to flip through the paper and do some reading and that sort of thing. So no better time than the present, I say. So let's go. So the headline page, we've got a picture of a con man. His tell-all interview in Weekend, which is Queensland Weekend, a little bit of a play on spelling there, plus the $1 million bribe to stop him ratting out a killer. That's on page 11, so we might check that bit more of that headline out in a little bit. Here we go. Mums forced into C-sections, induced labour to suit doctors, bullied into birth. Now, disclaimer, these are I'm just reading out the headlines from our paper. These are not my opinions. Things like this article I probably won't read. Interesting, like light-hearted articles and that sort of thing is probably what I'll get into. So let's flick the first page over. Watching me stalk on water. So this is, looks like an award-winning picture possibly. It's a finalist in the start again. It was worth all the stalking to watch this stork walking on water. Photographer Max Lane captured this stunning moment featuring a black-necked stork at Weeper on Cape York, which is right at the far north, far north of Queensland, tip of Australia even. Lane is a finalist in the inaugural Outback in Focus photographer competition in celebration of Queensland's Year of Outback Tourism. It attracted 450 entries across the state with 22 adult finalists and 22 youth finalists shortlisted. Fiona Maxwell of conservation group The Pew Charitable Trusts said the competition was all about showcasing the natural beauty of Queensland's outback. The outback is a place of extraordinary beauty and natural diversity. It runs deep in the hearts of all Queenslanders, she said. The competition is run in partnership with a range of our organisations, including the Outback Queensland Tourism Association and the Pew Charitable Trusts. The winners are announced on November 25. Now I'm going to try and anchor down this page so it doesn't. I've got the fan on because it's quite hot here today. And I will kind of bring the pictures up a little bit closer for you to see. So that's the picture of the stork that they were just talking about. There's also this picture below here, which is Max Lane's image of a stork near Weeper, Rigby Falls in northwest Queensland, by Alvin Lim, and a freshwater crocodile by Janico Kalk. And that's the crocodile. I'm not sure if you can see it there. I'm trying to hold it where the camera will focus on it. So that's all lovely. Seems that all the rest of our headlines on these pages are a little bit iffy, so we won't read those. Births on the clock. I could tell there was staff problem. Let's not go into that because we don't want any issues. Now this article here I won't read, but the background on this is this gentleman, Jared Baden Clay, was his wife went missing. Her body was found. He did the 911. Here in Australia we dial 000, not 911. So he called 000 to report her missing. Sorry, I'm trying to anchor down this other page. I'm not sure if you can see it. It keeps flapping because I've got the fan on. So his wife went missing. He made the 000 call. They eventually found her body, and then it turned out obviously that he was convicted of it. So he's in jail currently. I believe he's serving a life sentence. I'm not sure if he's ever eligible for parole or if he's not ever eligible for parole. But yeah, quite a allegedly, well, he's been convicted, so do I still have to say allegedly? I'm not sure, but anyway, if he did it, and many people, including myself, believe that he did, and I might actually do a story on this, just with some facts. I also have watched a video by Peter, I've forgotten his last name. He does statement analysis and that sort of thing. He's done statement analysis on the JonBenet Ramsey case and on the Madeleine McCann case, among many others, and using just the rudimentary things that he set out in one of his videos, listening to the 911 call of this guy, like, he does everything that this guy says is quintessentially, generally a guilty person. So wait for that, I suppose. I'm not a true crimer, but that might be something that I can go for. Alrighty. What have we got here? Study reveals chores we neglect the most. Well, here's an interesting one to read then, isn't it? The average here we go. The average Aussie has 19 unfinished jobs on their to-do list, a survey has found. Visits to the gym or dentist, home repairs, and even buying new clothes are among the most dreaded tasks being put off or avoided. The research estimates adults have collectively piled up 350 million unfinished chores across the country. But lack of money, rather than laziness, appears to be the major reason for failing to get many things done. The national poll found people would need to spend, on average, almost 9,400 Australian dollars to completely tick off their to-do list. 6 in 10 questioned Australians said they did not have enough savings to wipe their lists clean. Instead, they would have to rely on other measures such as credit cards and payment plans. The survey was commissioned by Buy Now Pay Later service OpenPay. OpenPay CEO Michael Idell said, we're all waging war with our to-do lists, and while the length and complexity of these lists is different for everyone, we're unfortunately aware that many tasks do get put off simply because of cost. The survey found home improvements were put off for up to 9 months on average, and health matters for 6 months. That's rather interesting, isn't it? Okay, next one, we're up to page 10 and 11. A million reasons to take dive on stand. Foster offered bribe over Chardon. Okay, man in 8 kilo drug bust. Wow. Coral cover at several reef islands has halved. Now, this is something that's really, like, just, it's devastating for many people to read or to listen to or whatever. This story is by Nicholas McElroy. Up to half of the living coral cover at several islands on the Great Barrier Reef has halved since the late 1990s, according to alarming new data. Researchers say they're shocked to see the declines of coral cover on fringing reefs of 4 island groups on the central and southern parts of the Great Barrier Reef during recent surveys. Human impacts are increasing the frequency of disturbances such as coral bleaching, leaving little time between events to allow a full recovery, said the study's lead author, Dr. Daniela Cesarelli, and I apologise if I've pronounced that wrong. The James Cook University researcher said marine heat waves and wave exposure were key drivers influencing coral cover at the reefs off the Palm, Magnetic, Whitsunday and Keppel Island groups. It was found that corals on the reefs, many of which were frequented by tourists, had a lower threshold to heat stress than previously thought. The researchers said some of the reefs remained vibrant and productive and had a potential for ecosystem recovery and adaptation. If we can tackle water quality locally and climate change globally, then there is hope, Dr. Cesarelli said. It would be really devastating if the Great Barrier Reef died, or if all the coral reefs down the Queensland coast died. But, this global warming thing, it's not necessarily something that is fixed. Well, it's not something that's fixed overnight. So, where we go? Truckies under fire over alarming bridge strikes. Nation losing Hep B battle. Oh, I don't think anyone wants to read that. I mean, people do, obviously, but not today. Private school sues single mum. GoFundMe page for unpaid fees. Okay. Talk of the town. Love and loss as George ties the knot. Winds keep coming for our unflappable rowing coach. Not a lot of really... Oh, nice big ad for one of our stores that sells electrical apply, do everything, electrical appliances, bedding, furniture, all of that sort of thing. Harvey Norman is the name of the company. Not sponsored, hashtag not sponsored. Now here is an ad for Officeworks. They do all office stuff. They sell computers and that sort of thing. They also sell office furniture, but they also do all your stationery, pens and all of those sorts of things. Flying higher on the back of a giant panda. Okay, that sounds interesting. I didn't know that pandas could fly. By Dan Knowles, future SEQ editor. A giant Chinese airline has been quietly helping Brisbane tap the biggest and fastest growing travel market in the world. China Southern, the globe's third biggest airline last year with 140 million passengers, is flying more and bigger planes into Brisbane as Chinese travellers are drawn to Queensland for blue skies, clean air and the reassurance we will help them if they run into trouble. The Brisbane-China route is growing so fast the airline has recruited 20 Australian pilots. China Southern's Brisbane General Manager Ben Zhang said Queensland's reputation for friendliness and willingness to help out gave Chinese tourists the confidence to visit. People here are honest and willing to help people who are in trouble, Mr. Zhang said. Flights had grown from daily to 10 a week, he said. Last year we brought about 80,000 people into Brisbane. Next year we may bring 100,000. Queensland Tourism Industry Council CEO Daniel Geschwind said comfort and safety were near the top of the list for travellers. It's not necessarily what you put into an advertising campaign, but consideration about comfort and safety are really, really important, he said. That's where we're really strong, and also the fact that we are a welcoming and friendly country. We are. Come on down. It's very important, and often exit surveys refer to the welcoming nature of the people that they encounter while they are here. Then, of course, the natural attributes. The Great Barrier Reef, beautiful coastline, the outback are attributes that are very special, and also the First Nation cultures with our genuinely unique living culture that is 60,000 years old. China is Queensland's #1 market for trade, tourism, education and training. A deal signed last month by Tourism Events Queensland and Chinese online giant Alipay will target high-value and mobile-savvy Chinese millennial and Generation Z independent travellers. The push includes showcasing Queensland destinations Brisbane, Gold Coast, Cairns, the Great Barrier Reef and the Whitsundays direct to Alipay users during peak shopping periods and public holidays, as well as setting up city cards that let Chinese tourists use their preferred mobile payment methods. Future Aviation is a 2-week series run in partnership with Brisbane Airport, Tourism and Events Queensland, Brisbane City Council and PwC to highlight the opportunities of the new runway which opens next year. It's all exciting. New runways, extra tourists, gonna boom. School block siblings, no bail for horror cat death. Yeah, no, let's not read that on a Sunday morning. It is a Sunday morning here. It's currently, actually it's a Sunday afternoon. It's currently about 1:30 in the afternoon. Gee, tell you what, when you get lost in binge watching Netflix and that sort of thing in the morning when you wake up, you should have done pretty much all your chores by now. But anyway, let's see what else have we got. Oh, measles spike. Yeah, there's been a bit of a measles outbreak in southeast Queensland, but fingers crossed. I've had my shots years ago. I don't know if I need to be re-immunised, but here's an article about something that's really topical in the news at the moment. So up until I think it was Saturday night, you were able to actually climb Uluru, which is better known around the world as Ayers Rock. Uluru is the local Indigenous people's name for the rock. So you were allowed to climb up it. You can see the pictures here. I'm pretty sure the camera will pick them up, of people climbing up the rock. They've now banned that because it is a sacred space for the local tribe. I'm trying to find the name of the tribe. Let's see. I can't see the name. Just if I find it on the Anangu people. I apologise to the Anangu people if I've pronounced that incorrectly. So the Anangu people are the local Aboriginal tribe in the Uluru area. The Uluru is a sacred site to them, so they've petitioned the government for quite a while, and the government have finally said that's it, no more. You can still go and see it, you just can't climb on it, and it's really dividing a lot of people. People think that because it's a rock and it's there, it's just a rock, it's there, we should be able to climb it if we want to. And then there's obviously people who are on the Indigenous Aboriginal people's side, and saying that if it's a sacred, you know, if you had a sacred place like a church, or, you know, a tree in your backyard, or, you know, depending on whatever your spiritual and religious beliefs are, and I'm not putting any shade on anybody, because everybody has the right to believe different things, then you won't want people coming into your backyard and climbing the tree just because it's there. So I understand it. I wish I'd made the trek there, but now thinking about it, I'm like, well, would I have really been happy with myself if I had gone there and climbed on it, just to be one of those people that can say I've climbed Ayers Rock. So anyway, this is there is now anybody caught climbing the rock faces, I believe it's a $10,000 fine. Again, I can't see that in here anywhere, but yeah, so if you're caught climbing the rock from today onwards, you will be fined anywhere up to $10,000. You might even get chucked in jail for a night or two. It's yeah, so there we go, that's that. Oh, Spotlight, this is one of our fabrics, you know, Manchester fabric craft kind of stores. They're everywhere around Australia. Let's see, what else have we got? There's a lot of really, I just wanted to flick through the paper and read some nice stories, some heartwarming stories. And like every page, 90% of the news is just bad. Anyway, school formal. Now, what you guys in America call prom, we call it here at the school formal. Everyone dresses up and we get to go to, you know, a fancy hotel, and yeah, we do the dancing and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. So that's something that every year 12 student, well, not every year 12 student does. If they don't want to, they don't have to. It's not compulsory. Raise your glass to boutique breweries. Okay, here's this sounds like this would be it. This is going to be a feel-good story. Boutique breweries, it's by Elise Williams, this story. Boutique breweries around the country are today raising a glass to how far the indie beer industry has come. So I don't know why that was so hard to read. Anyway, the inaugural event, organised by the Independent Brewers Association, sees Australia's beer makers and drinkers alike toast to the small guys of the industry. Participating in the festivities is ex-engineer turned brewer David Ward, who co-owns Brisbane's Aether Brewing. At 1 p.m. local time, we'll join the rest of the breweries across Australia in raising a glass and celebrating all the hard work we've done in building this incredible industry, Mr. Ward said. One of the best parts about owning a boutique brewery, according to Mr. Ward, was the ability to create unique flavoured seasonal beers. Our crazy beers tend to fly off the shelves. Our mango IPA or the peanut butter stout are definitely some of our most popular right now. Aether will today launch a tap room at their brand new Northgate headquarters. Now, I'm not a beer drinker, but a mango pale ale, a peanut butter stout, makes me want to go and do a bit of a tasting and, you know, maybe film it and see what happens there. So anyway, on to the next page. See, we're starting to get to the the good stories. That you're going to have more good stories than bad stories. Oh, and then we turn over to the world news, and that goes all the way out the window. California goes dark in firefight. Now, we've got fire issues here in Queensland at the moment, but they do in California as well. So this story, California goes dark in firefight. Los Angeles. Fast-growing fires throughout California forced thousands of people to evacuate and power to be cut as dry winds and high heat fed both the flames and fears in a state still jittery from devastating bushfires in the past 2 years. Officials say they did not yet know how many homes had burned and that no immediate injuries were reported. It's not clear how the blazes began. In Northern California wine country, authorities ordered 2,000 people to evacuate as a bushfire expanded to more than 39 square kilometres. Whipped up by the strong winds that prompted utilities statewide to impose blackouts to prevent such fires from igniting. The blaze threatened some of the area's famed wineries. In the south, flames rolled along the parched foothills north of Los Angeles, where thousands of homes have sprung up in recent decades. So that's not good. All the love goes out to all of our friends in California. Everybody who's, possibly dicing with losing their home and all their possessions, and yeah, it's not good. So this is an article about the future of Brisbane Airport. We actually have two airports here in Brisbane. Our domestic and our international airports are separate. In a lot of other states they're not. I know Sydney's are separate because I remember when I flew to the States a couple of years ago, I had to fly domestic from Brisbane to Sydney, and then I had to get a bus from the domestic to the international terminal. However, having lived in Melbourne, I know that their international and domestic is all one terminal. So, yeah, it's a bit strange, but done differently, so differently in so many places. We've got a careers page. Well, we're not looking for a new job right now, so let's just flip that over. This is all racing, so we don't need to see that. Oh, these are all school jobs. Marist College Emerald, which is up North Queensland. Nudgee College, which is north side of Brisbane. St Patrick's College, Shorncliffe. I'm not quite sure where Shorncliffe is. Interesting. Oh, here's more. Bond University. St Augustine's College, St Mary's Catholic College, Kingaroy, which again is sort of north-westish of Brisbane. Urgently required hairdresser. Woohoo! I'm not a hairdresser, so that doesn't... I don't know why I woohooed at that, but anyway. That's on film now forever. Okay. It's a right royal mess. You know what? Let's not get into that. Everyone has their opinions on the royal family. I think they're great. Personally, let's just leave the whole Meghan and Harry thing out of it. Okay. Oh, here we go. Some editorials. Some question and answers. Fewer Renaults drag on GWA. I don't know what GWA means. Toymate creates magic of fantasy for kids. Toymate founders Aidan Levy and Daniel Bloom are focusing on providing a fun experience in their stores. I don't think I've ever seen a Toymate store. I wonder where they are. Well, they've got one at Loganholme. That's not far from where I work. Right, apologies for that. The camera just turned itself off. Anyway, I'm hoping, I'm just going to keep checking on it. I'm hoping that it doesn't die. So let's quickly get through the rest of this paper. Union called for power to check pay slips. Fashion award is a dream come true. Man with a mission to fight mould. Okay, yeah, we're not crazy here in Australia. Oh, and these are the classified, so we can just skip past these ones. Oh, the in memoriam section. Funerals and tributes. It's, yeah. There's nobody I know on that, which is always a good thing. I did see one of the YouTubers that I follow did a graveyard tour, and I wondered if that might be something that you guys might want to see. There's a couple of little graveyards around near here. Now, I don't know a lot about the local families or, you know, anything like that, but it might be something that if it interests you, I can go and sort of, we can have a look at these dates and things like that. Alright, we're into the sports pages now. Miller can be a giant killer. Hockeyroos are halfway to the Olympics. Racing, horse racing. Imports put in Bullets roll first. So Brisbane Bullets are the local, my hands are all black, I don't know if you can see that. Brisbane Bullets are the local basketball team. I don't know how they're doing because I don't follow basketball. This is about the Australian Diamonds, which is the Australian women's basketball team. Rugby World Cup, which we're out of now. Wales lose fullback for semi-final. That's not good. More, oh no, this is car racing. There's a massive Indy 600, I think it's called, car race. Oh, sorry, V8, so I don't know what it's called. I don't follow car racing either. Down on the Gold Coast today, they block off a heap of streets and that sort of thing. Cricket, a little bit more down my alley. Finch's best remedy for cup heartbreak is to win the next one. I won't go into detail on these because if you're watching from America, you probably don't even really understand what cricket is. But then you really don't understand the other sport that I love, which is Australian rules football. However, there is a third sport that is my top two sports will be Australian rules football and hockey. I got into hockey when I was overseas, and I do have an NHL team that I follow. We also do have a hockey league here in Australia. It's amateur, and I do have a team there. They're called the Melbourne Ice. My NHL team is the Calgary Flames because I spent a bit of time in and around Calgary a few years ago, and they were the first team that I saw on TV. They were the first team I saw actually live game of. It was Calgary versus Edmonton, and we hate Edmonton. Right, so this is soccer. Again, I don't really follow soccer, but that's Sloppy Raw again, Roo playing chasing games. So it looks like Brisbane Raw got defeated by Melbourne Victory. A friend of mine is a Melbourne Victory fan, so he'd be happy with that. The score was 1-0. Right, this is more rugby. I don't know. Horse racing again. Because we're in the Spring Carnival, which is basically all the big horse races in this part of the world. In our country are run during the Spring Carnival. Yesterday was, I can't remember which one was yesterday, but coming up the first Tuesday of November will be the Melbourne Cup. So that's one of the biggest in the world. And all of Melbourne gets a day off for that. We don't up here in Brisbane. Right, okay, well that was, I don't know about you. That was a little anticlimactic. I thought that was actually going to be a bit more. Okay, so these are sales. Quick end. Let me turn it over so it doesn't blow up. So we've got quick end and home. Home that's a really thick one. I'm going to look at that privately because not that I'm looking for a house to buy, but it's got a real estate section in it with like properties that are for sale and stuff like that. But let's have a quick flick through quick end. So this is Peter Foster. He's tired of being the con man. After a life spent on the wrong side of the law, Peter Foster decided to help police catch a killer. Has the serial fraudster mended his ways? Don't know. I don't know. Oh, Christmas shack. Oh, I have to go here. I say every year I have to go here. I have actually moved into my own place for the first time in about 5 years. And this will be my first Christmas in my own place. And I have a tree, but I don't know where all my decorations are. I bet you they're at my storage unit, which I will be getting my stuff out of storage fairly soon, but it's not here yet. And I need decorations. I need lights. I need tinsel. I need everything for my tree. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put it yet because my place is quite small, but we'll figure that out when it's time to put the Christmas tree up, which in my family, the tradition is 1st of December. William McInnes. Cabby-Wan Kenobi had turned into Darth Vader on a bad hair day, so I turned off the radio. Okay, that sounds a bit weird. Can the King of Con change? Ah, this is Peter Foster, who is sick of being the con man. You know what, sometimes it's hard. People can change their spots, but sometimes it's hard for people to trust them again. So this is Claire Bowditch. She's a musician and an actor. She was in one of my favourite shows for a little while called Offspring. Here in Melbourne, was filmed in Melbourne. It was here on TV here in Australia. I'm not going to read that because it looks like it's a fairly long article. It's about after a childhood tragedy and a 20-something breakdown, Claire Bowditch has found her own amazing life as a musician, actor, mother, and now writer, sharing her story of hope with others. And I believe there was something about her sister dying, but I might read that later on my own because it's quite a long story. So the vibrant star-studded night sky, deep gorges, and the red dunes of the outback are celebrated in a new photographic competition. This is the one, I think. Yep, Outback in Focus. That was these are going to be the colour photos. So let me just. So we've got this. Can you see that one? That's beautiful. That's muller flowers with butterfly. Then there's this one here, which I can probably get a bit closer, and my camera battery is about to die. It's a snake. It's a Herowitz green tree python. Oh, look at some of these. I'm going to turn the camera off now and just take some pictures of these so that I can add them on to the end. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I just said thumbs up and like, so you can do one or the other. It's the same thing. Don't forget to subscribe, share this channel with anybody that you think might be interested. And if you've got any suggestions for any future videos, let me know. Thanks everyone, bye.